future. We're talking real money.
Well, look at that. Another day. We've made it. We made it yet another day, Tom. Congratulations on making it all the way to Saturday. And there goes my mic. Look at it. It's gradually, the arm is sinking into the sunset.
A little like your career, actually. Yeah. Tailing off. Not straight down, but...
Oh, don't you get me started. Oh,
How's
don't
that?
you get me started. Anybody who listened to yesterday's podcast they know I have ammunition now.
I can't wait to go back and hear
You did not listen to
No.
yesterday's podcast, so you do not realize the ammo that I was given by a listener who will remain
Is this
nameless.
someone 5th grade, 6th grade? Which?
No, this is an adult. This is an adult. It sounded like somebody with incredibly impeccable taste.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Then they
So,
have only nice things to say about me.
Let me give you a phone number before it gets bad. If you want to talk about money with us, well, this is Talking Real Money. It's very appropriate. So it's really the right place to do it. Give us a call, 855-935-TALK, 855-935-8255. I'm Don McDonald, Tom Cox over there. And Tom.
Yes.
Think you're funny, don't you? Think you're funny. Yeah. The guy yesterday, you know what he said?
What did he say? You're killing me.
Tell Tom. So I'm
Shut
telling
up.
you, tell Tom
Yeah.
to stop trying to be funny.
I don't need that from him. I can get that from my 14-year-old daughter. She says that all the time.
Dad, quit trying
Don't
to be
try
funny.
and be funny, Dad. You'll be funny. Okay, that's probably true, by the way.
And
All right, fair enough.
I wasn't going to tell you, but then you were
Straight
insulting.
faces on.
You were insulting right from the get-go, so I decided I had to let
faces on.
loose. Hi, everybody.
fair
Welcome. We're going to talk about a lot about investing because that's really the big issue with most people. Most people invest badly. They don't do it enough. They don't do it soon enough. They're not patient enough. They don't have discipline. Oh, we do some dumb things. And the reason is because it's hard to do the things that we know work. The things that we know empirically that work. Give you an example. We had the Great Depression back in the 1920s. Guy by the name of John Maynard Keynes from England, an economist, came over to the United States and started buying stocks after the crash of 29 like crazy. Why did he do that? Because he's dead now, he knew that you have to buy low. And that was about as low as stocks had gone. And the same thing happened not so long ago, but beginning of World War II, when John Templeton, the guy who founded the Templeton Funds, went out and started buying a lot of downtrodden stocks, right? At the beginning of the worst war in the world's history.
And this is one of the reasons that our friend Jason Zweig wrote that great investors have to possess 7 cardinal virtues.
Cardinal, easy for you to say.
Yeah. Curiosity, I'm trying to be funny without being funny. Curiosity, skepticism. I know. Discipline.
Yeah.
Independence,
Yeah.
humility, patience, and above all, courage. I'm going to add another word, actually, because I think it really does. There was a study done a while back that looked at West Point graduates and the people that did really well after going to West Point and the people that did not do as well, and the difference, because they're all good people. I mean, they're quality people, right? Just to get there. Grit. I'm going to add grit because investing in stocks is like owning companies.
True
and
grit.
There will be time. Oh God. And there will be times when it just looks bad with companies or the world, the business or the economic, all those things.
Wait, you mean kind of like now?
Well, I mean, the S&P, lost 2.9 this week. The NASDAQ lost another 3.5. Fourth losing week in 5 weeks. You hear all I don't need to run through all that because you hear that every day on Fill in the Name Network. But you got to not only have the courage to act, but in the words of Jason Zweig, I think this is even more important, the courage to resist. Resist what you're hearing, resist the intuition that you're feeling like I got to do something now because
it's emotion. It's not intuition. It is emotion.
Okay, yeah, that's true. It's right there but so you got to know that. And that courage, that grit, oftentimes requires you to do the opposite of what you just talked about, Don, how you're feeling.
Mm-hmm.
Really does, because in the words of John Bogle, don't do anything. Just stand up and do
Just
nothing.
sit there.
I mean,
yeah.
Just sit there. It's hard.
Don't just do something. Sit there. Don't just sit there, do something. It's a play on that little phrase. When it comes to money, don't do anything. Or if you're going to do something, then do the thing that is really truly the hardest to do. And that's to put money in when everything looks horrible, like it could get much worse, and to start taking money out when it seems like it couldn't be any better. 855-935-TALK.
Tom and Don are talking real money.
Is your portfolio a mess? You may have a case of hodgepodgeitis, but don't worry, we can help. Just set up a free, no-obligation meeting with a Vestory advisor at Vestory.com. No sales pitch, guaranteed. That's Vestory.com.
Your guides to a really great financial future. Tom and Don are talking real money.
Hello again. Welcome back to Talking Real Money. I'm Don. That's Tom. 855-935-TALK is our phone number. Before we move on, I'd like to share a little story with all of you. A little story of a man named Harry. This gentleman, we're going to go back about 25 years ago, almost a quarter of a century, when Harry considered himself to be one of the world's finest financial prognosticators, a prophet of money. And Harry wrote a book that was a bestseller. Published in 1998, this was on the New York Times bestseller list, sold tens of thousands of copies. The book was called The Roaring 2000s, in which Harry predicted that the stock market in the United States in the 2000s would soar, and he doubled down. In 2000, and let me make sure I have my year right.
That was 6.
2006, he doubled down with another book about the great boom that was coming, saying that the stock market, 2006, he said the U.S. stock market would more than double in the next few years.
And now?
Wait a minute. What did it do? I've got more to this story.
Those 10 years? It was actually, the S&P 500 is actually underwater. Now, globally diversified portfolio still made you some money. But
right, but he was talking about the
boom.
U.S. market, and the U.S. market went the opposite direction from a big boom. It wasn't the roaring 2000s. We ended up calling it the lost decade.
That's true, we did.
Because the S&P 500 was down over the entire 10 years. So, the market fell, and it fell until 2009 when it began to recover. Harry decided it was time for a new book. Since he was wrong for the last 10 years, he turned 180 degrees and wrote the book called The Great Depression Ahead in 2009. What happened after 2009, Tom?
Well, the economy recovered, the stock market recovered, all those things kind of went straight back up again.
Well, that didn't work, so he changed the book and rewrote it to The Great Crash Ahead in 2011. Market kept going up. Then in 2015, he wrote What to Do When the Bubble Pops. The market kept rising. Then he believed the bubble would burst somewhere around 2019. No, didn't happen again. Not to be, you would think by this point Harry would be thinking to himself, I'm not very good at this. I keep getting this wrong. But no, Harry's books sell like hotcakes, even though he's wrong. And now Harry has a new prediction. Watch out.
And Harry, he sounds like a man without a country at this point, which he is a little bit because he's in Puerto Rico, but that's a whole other thing.
A man without a clue.
Yeah. So, okay, now he's saying, I hate to even mention this because some people are going to be scared.
Pay no attention.
And
remember, Harry is absolutely, whatever Harry says, the opposite happens.
The opposite, yeah. He says it's going to be an unprecedented market crash that will send stocks plummeting I'm going to get it right today. Plummeting as much as not 10, not 20, not 30, not 40, not 50, 90%. And he says financial advisors, I'm adding this part in, that already have slide rules and crystal balls need to add one other thing to their repertoire, and that is bodyguards. Because the financial advisors, he says, are going to need bodyguards to keep their clients from shooting them.
No, actually, what most of the clients are going to be doing is trying to steal food from their neighbors. When the market, if the market was to decline 90%, that means the value of the global economy is about where it was in the 19th century.
I was going to say, it's a long time ago.
We're going to be living a very agrarian lifestyle, barely surviving. You won't have a job. If 90% of the value of the global economy vanishes, you're not going to worry about your stock. You're not going to even be thinking about your stocks. You're going to be going, where's my next meal coming from?
I'm filing for Social Security. He says by the end of March, by the way, which I think is just a couple of weeks away, the market should be down 30 to 40%. So we'll know pretty soon about this prediction. The real fireworks, though, mid-year, biggest crash in a lifetime. Stocks will dive as much as 90%. And guess where he's investing now? Guess where he's putting his money?
Gold.
Nope, not gold, because he thinks that will go down too. Yep, Bitcoin is probably going to become the new monetary gold standard of the world. And he's got big buying plans for crypto, and I'm even going to say the C word that follows it.
Crypto crap?
Yeah, exactly. Thank you.
Wait a minute. If
you did a nice job of going through his whole CV, though, because people forget.
If 90% of the global economy vanishes, aren't you going to have a hard time connecting your computer to anything? There won't be an internet. There won't be electric utilities. There won't be a computer manufacturer left in business.
I have a friend who has some horses.
There won't be diddly. There will be nothing. The world will have essentially ended economically. But why and this is a rhetorical question because I know the answer, why do people keep buying his stupid books? I can't sell financial physics. I mean, I've sold on Amazon probably 150, 200 copies of financial physics. He's sold 100,000 plus copies of his books. Why does he sell so many books? Rhetorical question. What's the answer rhetorically?
The answer is because he's sensational, because you don't ever predict anything like this. You need to get out there and say, here's what's going to happen, Tom.
Because Harry, even if he's wrong, it's exciting. It's like a haunted house or a horror movie or a wicked roller coaster. We pay money to get scared to death, and that's exactly what you're doing when you buy Harry Dent's books. Harry, I admire your persistence. I can't believe you actually believe a word you say. I would be shocked because I'm thinking you're a relatively intelligent person who only cares about one thing, and that is money. That's what I'm guessing. You don't care about telling the truth because you haven't done that in a quarter of a century. Not once.
I heard him speak in person 20 plus years ago. He's very persuasive. He's charismatic, and he's very believable. At that time, by the way, it was all about the potato chip economy.
Right. He was a demographer. He was a big demographer.
That's right. That was about 2000 or 99. So, yeah, he was exciting and interesting person to listen. Doesn't mean that you're not, Don. You're not as funny.
Boring.
I'm boring.
I'm more funny because I don't try.
I'm going to leave out the person that came up to me at the Stacking Benjamins against on Thursday and said, tell Don, you're funnier than he is. Oh, I said, no, I'm not going to do that.
Thanks, guy at Joe Salsihai's event.
It was a good event. I want to thank everybody who came out. And I've already met a few people that listen to our podcast as well. So
now you realize that the guy was there talking to you face to face, so he pretty much felt like he had to say that. 855-935-TALK is our number.
Tom and Don are talking real money.
At some point, most investors need professional financial guidance. So get a little bit of free help or a lifetime of affordable 100% fiduciary guidance at vestory.com, vestory.com.
For your real life and real future, Tom and Don are talking real money.
That was the story of a man named Harry who was writing lots of really awful books. People kept buying them, even though he's crazy.
And but so they gave him a lot of strange looks.
Oh, that was good. Okay, that was that word. It rhymed.
Yeah, I know. I'm
rhymed.
Here. Right.
And that's saying a lot. 855-935-TALK is our phone number for your questions. You can call us right now because we've got those lines available.
Yep.
As my mic sinks into the sunset again, I have to adjust the tension on my mic arm. You know?
Like there's not enough tension in the show already? Come on.
There's enough tension in this room. You can cut it with a knife. 855-935-TALK. But we also get a lot of questions sent in at talkingrealmoney.com. And this is the time when we do our typed ones because I can read it and Tom can take a swing at it.
Kind of. Yeah.
Take
big
a
swing. Big swing.
First of all, this is the note. I'm already reading now. This is the beginning of quotations. First of all, Thank you for commenting on Rice Delman, a.k.a. Rick Edelman.
A.k.a. Financial Engines.
I have been listening to him for years and was very disappointed when his new show sounded like an unending sales pitch, which it does. Anyway, here's his question.
Yeah.
If the U.S. goes the way of all other previous dominant world forces, British Empire, Roman Empire, Ottoman Empire, etc., what do you believe will happen to the U.S. stock market? I understand you speak highly of VT, but philosophically, what do you believe happens? Unless I'm mistaken, which could very well be the case, the understanding that stocks from a 2,000-foot view trend upwards historically, but that is from a U.S. perspective. And is that perspective skewed by the rise of the U.S. economy since the World Wars, especially the second? Thanks. He's a deep thinker. He's a deep thinker.
Definitely the U.S. has been a great market, if that's what you're saying. And has the U.S. led the world economically? Absolutely. By the way, a lot of that is spilled out to other places, right?
Spilled. It's leaked all over the place.
Yeah, I mean, you've got capitalism just breaking out all over the place.
Except in Russia.
So anyway, so what you're really asking is if something really bad up the United States melts down, what's going to happen to the stock market? You're not going to care. Are you?
No.
I'm not going to care. I mean, there's going to be a lot of other things to worry about.
That was basically the point of the Harry Dent discussion.
Yeah, I mean,
if that happens, then you're not going to care. If it doesn't happen, then that's when your investments are going to come in handy in the future. And we have to be very careful because we look back at history as a series of events that happened at a single point in time, which is not true. The fall of the Roman Empire, and that's the best example, it really is the best example, didn't happen on a particular day when the Goths sacked Rome.
Yeah.
It broke apart slowly and gradually, and yet there was a very viable economy for centuries after there was no effective Italian-based Roman Empire. It had moved.
I've been there recently. The place is still there.
Yeah, right.
It's still there, by the way.
But there was a semblance of an economy, and what really destroyed the economy of the Middle Ages were plagues and the like. But again, if you lived at, let's say you were living in 300 A.D. during the decline of the Roman Empire, you probably didn't notice that much because it happened at a glacially slow rate. It really happened over lifetimes, not a single lifetime. So you're not going to notice that much. What we deal with is today. We deal with the situation that we have today and that we have had in the relatively recent past. You also have to remember that technological improvements have increased logarithmically, geometrically.
That's true. Yeah, thank you, Professor McDonald, for that history lesson. Here's my takeaway when people say that is there's nothing you can do about that, right?
He's more pragmatic.
No, there literally is not. I mean, you could, in terms of markets, you could protect yourself by being globally diversified. But if the U.S. melts down and goes back to the agrarian age, guess what? The rest of the world likely to follow suit. Likely. So there's really very little you could do.
And if there's a switch like we saw from the British Empire, which was a very gradual switch to the American Empire, very gradual, then it's going to be a gradual switch from, say, the American empire to the Chinese empire, and you'll still have investments there.
Tom and Don are talking real money.
Is your portfolio a mess? You may have a case of hodgepodgeitis, but don't worry, we can help. Just set up a free no-obligation meeting with a Vestory advisor at vestory.com. No sales pitch, guaranteed. That's vestory.com.
Reality radio for a really great future. We're talking real money.
I know you know how important money is in your life, but the stuff you don't know is is much greater than you think. You really don't, when it comes to investing, know a whole lot about it, most of you. The problem is a lot of you think you do, or you have somebody you're dealing with who you believe knows more than they probably know. And let me tell you, I know from firsthand experience how little most of the people in the financial services industry actually know about helping you invest and manage your money. Because when I was in my 20s, I was one of them.
Yeah. Most of them are salespeople. Mm-hmm. Most of them are given a product and said, move this product. And most of them really haven't studied, kind of how markets work long time. They just haven't done that. That hasn't been the focus. The focus has been bringing in new clients, charging those new clients, getting them on the track. That's all.
You should probably consider going to grab your statements and, run it by us. We'll go through it and tell you the honest truth about it with you. Whether you're getting what you think you're getting, and if you're getting what you need to be getting. We can do it here on the show at 855-935-TALK, or you can do it with one of our advisors at Vestory for free just by going to vestory.com. You can also send your questions in to talkingrealmoney.com, much like Pete in Massachusetts did.
Hey, Pete.
Yeah. I heard a caller on one of your shows asking about recurring investing. He mentioned he didn't like having to log into Fidelity to buy ETFs. He wanted it done. I remember the call. He wanted it done on a regular basis. I have been using M1 for a while for a small post-tax account and was planning to cut over my 22 contributions to my Roth IRA into it. My primary reason is the auto invest feature of the platform. Buys are done automatically, and you can have your checking account drafted for a set amount every week, biweekly, or monthly. They don't have the fund selections of Fidelity, but they use payment for order flow. But I like the idea of just being able to set up the drafts and have it automated. What are your thoughts?
I love that, because we know that a lot of people, they look at the current situation and think it's a bad time to buy stocks, which it's not, by the way. When the S&P 500 is down over 11%, that's a good time to buy. Or the global portfolio is down almost 7%, it's a good time to buy. But your insides are telling you it's not a good time. So I love the disciplined approach. Money's going in every couple weeks. You're getting different prices. You're buying a little lower than you were. I think that's absolutely spot on. Yeah, I'm a huge fan of that.
Yeah, and there aren't a lot of services that'll do that automatic buying, and that's one of the nice things about M1. And as for the payment for order flow, for those of you who don't know what that is, that's when a brokerage house takes money from traders to pass the orders through their platform. 10% of Charles Schwab's total revenue last year was payment for order flow. It's where somebody pays them to place the orders on their platform. But here's what payment for order flow gets you as a consumer. Everything's a trade. Have you ever wondered how they can have no commissions on stock and ETF trades these days? No commissions. Used to be, when I was a broker, we would buy a round lot of stock. We would buy $5,000, $6,000 worth of stock for a commission of $300 or $400.
Yeah, that's gone, Don.
A 5 or 6% commission on a stock trade. Then it went down to just dollars, a few dollars. Remember, we had the $19 trades and then the $9.99 trades.
Schwab made those big changes.
And then the zero trades.
Yep.
Buy all these ETFs for nothing. That's because of payment for order flow. They have to make money somewhere. Nothing is free.
Which is fine. Again, all I want around that is further disclosure. Exactly how much, what the difference between the bid and the ask is. Let's be transparent about these things. And by the way, that you mentioned Schwab gets 10% of its revenue. Robinhood gets like half or more of their revenue from order flow. So it is a big deal, and it's something that is getting more scrutiny from regulatory bodies for sure.
Yeah, I don't know what percentage.
I think it's pretty high. Remember the number they came out with in the middle of the whole meme stock thing was incredible.
Oh,
all the money
holy
that was
cow.
getting in.
Schwab gets 10% of its revenue from payment for order flow. Mm-hmm. Robinhood gets 80%
a big number.
of their revenue.
Crazy. Yeah.
Wow. And it's basically what it is. It's the market makers, the people who are moving the stock in and out of their own portfolios that are paying these guys to execute trades. 855-935-TALK. Give us a call.
Tom and Don are talking real money.
A second opinion could save your life either physically or fiscally. Let one of our Vestory advisors help you save your future at Vestory.com, Vestory.com.
Your guides to a really great financial future. Tom and Don are talking real money.
Hey, welcome back to our little get-together we call a talk show, and then later we're going to call a podcast. It's an all-purpose program for everybody anywhere, particularly, though, for Americans because we're dealing with the American financial system. But it's funny, we get notes from people in England saying, hey, it's still kind of applicable, and boy, what we wouldn't do for expense ratios under 0.5%. Apparently, they pay a lot more over there for their investments than we do.
And they also mention a little more commentary about the English Premier League, but I'll let that one go for
we're
today.
talking money.
Oh, okay.
If you want a soccer show, go start your own darn soccer podcast.
Okay.
With your 12 listeners. 855-935-TALK is our phone number.
The challenge has been laid. Okay.
Good. I want to see you do this. I want to see you create your own podcast. I'll laugh all the way to the bank.
Yes, you will.
To cash my check when I win the bet. Let's see. Oh, Barbara's here. Hi, Barbara. Welcome to Talking Real Money.
Good afternoon, gentlemen. I am calling you about questions about a VEBA account and also just a bond certificate, second question. But are you familiar with VEBA accounts?
It sounds like something the insurance industry made up.
It has something to do with it's a health
It's a voluntary employees beneficiary association. It's designed to help employees with the cost of medical care. Correct?
Is that the one you're talking about?
Yeah. Yes.
It's funded by an employer.
Yep.
Right.
There are a few companies that offer them, but not very many.
Well, I have one, and that's why I'm calling you. And this is something that well, anyway, I ended up with one, as opposed to just funds for an account of my own personal desires. But what I have is a VEBA Metropolitan West Total Return Bond and Vanguard Institutional Index S&P 500. I know that you're familiar with, probably both of those just from listening to your program each week. But my question is, with everything that's happening right now, I'm wondering, I'm looking at rebalancing. Right now I'm 80-20 stocks over bonds.
In the VEBA?
In the VEBA, correct.
Okay. How much money's in your VEBA?
My balance, as of the most recent statement that I received, is $6,562.
Okay, because here's my concern, is that a VEBA is designed to be used to supplement the costs of medical care, correct?
Correct.
Similar to an HSA.
Similar to an HSA, Tom. Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. So it should be managed relatively conservatively. In other words, 80% in stocks, 20% in bonds. If you're never going to touch the money while you're actually working, and I believe this probably like an HSA could be rolled over to a retirement type account when you retire, then I'm okay with that. But if you needed the money along the way, you wouldn't want to have something so stock heavy because, as we're learning right now, stocks do actually go down from time to time. And if you need the money, your balance could decrease substantially.
Correct. I actually, let's see, I think I've had this for about 5 years now, and I do understand that the money that I have really can only basically be used for additional health expenses that I might have, and I am retired and have been for 5 years. So and I didn't.
So you're not adding new money then to the VIBA either, correct?
No. It's a health reimbursement.
Okay, so if you're retired, I'm trying to understand why the money's still there. In other words, generally when people leave their jobs, that money goes with them, goes, as I said, into a retirement account, and then can be used to fund their retirement.
I don't believe that VIBAs have that conversion feature.
Okay, so you're sort of stuck with it for a long. That seems odd too.
No. You got the money, but it has to be used for medical. It has to be used for medical. It's tax free if used for medical.
Okay, so if your question is should you rebalance, the answer is yes. You also sort of had a preface about with the situation we're in today. We're going to put a line through that because we don't know what the situation is going to be tomorrow. So none of that is relevant to us. What's relevant to us, frankly, Barbara, is how soon until you need the money. And if you're okay seeing the volatility you're going to get with a portfolio that's 80-20.
And the second part of Tom's answer is really the most important part of Tom's answer. And that is, how would you feel if this VIBA was worth $3,300 by the end of the year?
Well, I like it where it is right now.
Right, but because there is a distinct possibility. It's not a definite possibility, but it's happened before that at your portfolio balance, you could lose 45% of that money over a period of time. And that's when people do things like, well, then I'm getting totally out of the stock portion of it. I'm going to put it all in bonds. And then you turn your...
That's what I'm wondering. I'm wondering if I shouldn't reallocate or rebalance
more to bonds.
I
think you should move it. It should have been moved more to bonds from the get-go. And I think that, that I don't know what the right amount is, but it's whatever. If you can't afford to lose it, if you can't stand to watch it go down, you've got to be more conservative. And what we realize being more conservative means the potential for making less money, but we cannot time the market. We don't know enough.
Right. Well, and here's another issue. If I do reallocate, like right now I'm in 80 stock and 20 bond, do I want to go drastic,
yeah,
into bonds, like 80-20?
I think you do. I don't know what the right number is. I don't know what the right number is.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of that bond fund,
but that's okay.
Whatever, that's okay.
It's what's offered.
How about 50-50?
Yeah, at least that.
Let's just decrease our stock exposure a little bit. Is this a great, I guess what I'm hearing is this a great time to sell stocks and buy bonds? Maybe, maybe not. Nobody knows the answer to that. But in your situation, already retired with the likelihood that you will be pulling this money out over time to pay for medical expenses, I think having no more than half of it exposed to stocks and half in bonds probably makes more sense than an 80-20 portfolio.
Yeah, that's really what we're saying. We don't know what the right number is, and we never know the right time. We have never claimed to know the right time, and you will, I guarantee you never will hear us, no matter how famous it might make us, no matter how much like Harry Dent we might become. We're never going to, I don't care if it'll sell millions of copies of Financial Physics, I am never going to tell you I predict the future, because I don't. Thanks for your call. 855-935-TALK is our phone number. 855-935-8255. What do you got?
If you're worried about your stock prices, bond, all that stuff, your portfolio going down, there is some good news out there. Some really good news.
Really?
I forgot to mention this. Yeah. Merrill Lynch is lowering its management fee to 1.75% a year.
So it's gone. Well, that's a step in the right direction.
It was 2.25%, I think, and then moved it to 2.
That's a step in the right direction. It's lower than the 2+ that Ameriprise charges, which is lower than the 3 that fees are coming down. Ameriprise went to 3 to 2 and something.
If you're paying that much, you are way overpaying.
Well, but before you were way overpaying. So
that's good.
It's all relative.
Tom and Don are talking real money.
Is your portfolio a mess? You may have a case of hodgepodgeitis, but don't worry, we can help. Just set up a free no-obligation meeting with a Vestory advisor at vestory.com. No sales pitch, guaranteed. That's vestory.com.
For your real life and real future, Tom and Don are talking real money.
Yeah, I just heard something during the traffic report, and you guys on the podcast. Well, it really, this applies to everybody. I didn't realize that maybe we could just ask everybody, when you're out driving, just simmer down. Just simmer down. Simmer down your driving. Hey, if you want some help with the big stuff, you're like thinking maybe it's time I had a plan. Maybe it's time I understood what my risk tolerance is. Maybe I need to know what my needs might be in retirement, how much income I might need. Maybe my portfolio is a disaster after all. I wish someone would tell me the truth. Well, we will. We will. One of our advisors at Vestory by Appella will do that. And the good news is, I promise you they'll do it for nothing. And there's no obligation. And there's no high-pressure sales pitch, period. I guarantee it. Just go to vestory.com, vestory.com, and set up an appointment, vestory.com.
We hope you realize that the information provided on Talking Real Money is for informational, educational, and hopefully enjoyable purposes only. Providing personalized financial planning or investing advice takes time, so please consult with a really good fee-only fiduciary investment, tax, or legal advisor. We know a good one. Investing must always involve risk. In other words, you can and probably will lose money at times. Also, as much as you want it, no one can accurately and consistently predict the future, so past performance doesn't tell you a darn thing about what the future will bring. Unlike many other programs that say something similar, Talking Real Money is not trying to get you to buy or sell any financial products or securities. Instead, the program is provided as a public service by Appella Capital, a fee-only registered investment advisor. Thanks for listening, and please visit talkingrealmoney.com for more information and disclosures. Are we done now?